So here's what I want to do real quick. Very simply, I want to start with a game. The game is very easy. All I'm going to do is I'm going to play a riff, and you just tell me whether or not you recognize it. Ready? So if you're a super fan from that artist, you probably know exactly what the riff is, what album it's on, and what year it was recorded. But if you're just like a casual fan or you've only heard a couple songs from the artist, you probably don't know that one. But I'm betting there is one that you do know. It goes a little bit something like this. Ready? Now, if you would have asked me 8 or 9 years ago, Mike, what riff is that? I would have gone, oh, that's easy, that's Howie Days Collide. And I hope someone would have just slapped me in my stupid little 18-year-old face. But actually, both of those riffs were written by this South African guitarist named Dave Matthews. And if you're like me, and you might have a little bit of PTSD because this is one of the first real chord stretches that I learned on the guitar, and you remember just your hand aching from practicing that for hours and hours. And it's still right now for me, it's very difficult to get that completely clean. You see, I wasn't an original fan of Dave Matthews, or as his real fans call him, Dave. And going back to when I first started playing guitar, one of the things that I started doing when I went from acoustic to electric playing is I thought that a good guitarist, what made someone really great in fact, was their ability to shred, right? You look at those guys from the 80s, the hair metal guys, the glam rock guys, the guys who could just play as fast as humanly possible, like the things that your ears couldn't even comprehend. That was what made someone a good guitarist. So when it came to like learning about guys like Dave Matthews, guys with really cool chops that I didn't really know at the time, I really didn't like them because of that reason. I thought he was just the Crash Into Me guy, and that's a cool pop song from the 90s, but like, who is this pop star and why does he matter at all? I'm into real guitarists at the time, whatever that meant. That wasn't until I started looking up more guitarists to learn just about finger dexterity and to learn some cool riffs that I could learn maybe to impress a few friends. And everyone on the internet was saying, you gotta look up Dave Matthews Band, Dave Matthews Band, Dave Matthews Band. There was even this American Idol named Philip Phillips who was this great singer and guitar player. And everyone was like, oh, Dave Matthews should give him his band. I was like, is his band really that legendary? Yes. Yes, they are. They're absolutely incredible. And I was like, okay, whatever. He's got a great band. He's got this unique voice. But is he really that good? And that's when I discovered Satellite. Hi, yeah, is this NASA? I wanted to call about a Dave Matthews. Do you know him? Satellite is that first riff that I played you, right? It's this thing. Not only is that just a super cool riff, but he sings over that and plays that. I remember when I first tried to learn it, I was like, okay, this riff is hard enough as it is. But then when I tried to sing it and get those notes completely right and timed correctly, I was like, okay, maybe this Dave Matthews guy has a lot more talent than I thought he did. And then I looked up all his other riffs and I noticed that he wasn't just this 4-chord guy that I had originally thought he was. Dave Matthews has some like really cool riffs. Going back to my previous concepts that I thought about shredding, I learned that there's something that takes a lot of skill rhythmically, almost like Hendrix, in being able to play these really complex riffs and sing at the same time and do it as if it's effortless. Even in the song Satellite, when I started to map out more than just the verses to that song, I was like, okay. When the choruses come, he does this really cool riff. Where he starts out with his B flat power chord, and then he goes to these dyads. And it's almost like everything he's playing is almost impossible to play clean. And it's one of those things where I really noticed when I started looking to how he plays the choruses of the song. He almost has this right hand technique that's a lot like bluegrass players, right? A lot of times when I'm strumming very open chords or just strumming in general on the acoustic guitar, my hand is going up and down and flailing in these very wide motions. And it's one of those things you learn with shredding too, not to waste motion. His picking hand is so efficient when he's strumming. It's like There's no wasted movement at all. And during that, he's going through all these weird chord shapes. I've noticed, especially in this song, he likes to use the sus2 shape that I've noticed from a lot of like prog rock bands nowadays and a lot of like shoegaze guys back in the 90s, where he has to do those shapes, play them super cleanly, like I said, while muting the high strings. It's very difficult stuff. It took me a long time to learn how to play those songs with all the hits. There were just too many people, way too many people that I was willing to write off as guitar players in my early days. And I don't think there's anything wrong with wanting to learn how to shred or wanting to learn how to like play fast, because that's a skill that takes time to learn. But I think there's so much more to be said about what makes someone like a virtuosic guitar player, what makes someone a guitar player, even if you're not going to call them like a virtuoso that can be learned from, or that you can take something from, or that can do things that are skillfully just out of this world and almost unfathomable. Like what Dave Matthews was able to do with his band night to night. And I haven't even taken the real deep dive yet, just by learning a couple of those riffs like Satellite and Jimmy Thing and all of those things. Like he's so much more than the ordinary pop star, and I was willing to write him off. Even to say what I said with a lot of different guitar players to my friends in like early days, I just hate Dave Matthews. He's not that good. He's not that good, not even knowing that this guy was not just good. He was amazing. Like his songwriting skills, what he was able to do with the guitar melodically and with those riffs, I cannot overstate that. Even kind of like Mayer with his double stops and his riffs, he was kind of able to do like the blues sensibilities and put them into pop music in a way that like a larger scale audience could appreciate it. And he was doing that in ways that never once compromised like the legitimacy of the music. And I think his band helped with that as well, with them being so good, all those instrumentalists. So anyways, if you like Dave Matthews, please tell me your favorite Dave Matthews song, or what's like a deep cut that I need to listen to. I remember all the jokes they would make about him on The Office and on Parks and Rec, and everyone loving him and being like, only play the deep cuts. But thank you for watching. After years of just like not appreciating his music, he is one of the most respected acoustic guitar players that I have in my arsenal of like go-tos. Who's a great guitarist? Dave Matthews. Phenomenal. It was really cool to sort of dissect a few of these riffs for myself for this video. But let me also know what other artists you want me to take a look at, because I want to know some cooler acoustic guys that can help my strumming hand a little bit and help like strengthen my fingers a little bit more. It was also great to pull out the acoustic, the Fairmont from Godin. Thing sounds amazing. If you want to know more about this guitar or like any of the gear that I usually use, make sure to check it out. The links are all in the description. Got it all from Sweetwater. It's like the best way to support the channel if that's something you want to do, or if you just want to know more about the gear that I use. You know what I mean, bro? Make sure to like and subscribe if you had a good time, and most important of all, like most important, have a fantastic day. You've got your ball, you've got your chance.